Morality arises for two reasons. One, because we have freedom, and the other because we have knowledge. And therefore the decisions we make impact other people. And we get into the notion of morality when we recognize that we live in a universe where not only do we matter, and we have our self-interest, but other people do as well. And in a way, the moral life is a process of ex-centering, so that we don't just think of ourselves as the center of our world, but we realize that as children, as we grow up, at school, in families and so on, then in the workplace, that we have responsibilities to other people as well.
Of course, in tax, there's a whole bunch of areas where we don't have freedom. The law is absolutely clear and we pay the taxes which are due according to that. But in other places, what we do with our businesses and the way we structure it, the amount of investment we put in different places has an impact on the amount of tax we pay. The challenge is in knowing where there is a marginal dollar of taxes that might be paid, what is the common good that's associated with that, and what's the best way of serving the common good? Is it by paying taxes and trusting the government to spend it wisely, or is it by investing it ourselves and possibly delivering even better benefits to society and the ultimate common good?
Companies make really difficult decisions all of the time. Where to invest, where to spend, what to pay for various things. Supply chains are incredibly complicated. So I don't accept the argument that tax is too complicated a thing for people in companies to make decisions over. I think it's a question about, if you don't know, you need to find out.
Often using the word morality isn't helpful. It's more polarizing than anything else, but actually when you drill down and look at the values that a business conducts itself around and the values of the individuals which make up the business, I think that's a little bit more productive when looking at behaviour and reputation.
If you're looking at doing something and you ask yourself the question, if everybody did this, what would the result be? So if it's a way, for example, of paying all your senior employees without paying any tax and national insurance, great for you, great for your business. But clearly if everybody did that, then there's a problem. We're not getting enough tax in.
Very crudely, one can say that over the last 25, 30 years, many people have said the purpose of business is simply to make money within the law. There's another view of the purpose of business, which is to say that business in some sense has a license to operate because it has to have a purpose that serves society. In some way, through the products and services it produces, to provide for human needs, to solve societal problems, and of course, to make returns to shareholders and dividends and so on. But the purpose of business is not simply to make money on that view. The purpose of business has a moral purpose, as an overarching moral purpose, which is in some way to serve society.
Tax is governed by law, and the reason for that is that people have to know, this is what the law says, this is how much tax I'm going to pay. If it was just a moral issue, then it would be a free-for-all. That would undermine the rule of law. You wouldn't like it if I said to you, morally, I think you ought to pay more tax than you're paying now. However, often the way in which tax is paid depends on a course of action that you take, and any human action has got moral implications, not just for tax in all walks of life. So it's the actions that people take that affect the tax charge, which has the moral or the ethical implication.
And it's important to see this as a system and not just about a question of individual choices. So we don't think that the global system is fair, and one of the reasons why that global system needs to be mended, needs to be fixed, is because of this sense of a race to the bottom. When we have a situation of countries continually underpicking one another and undermining one another, then people who are powerful set the rules. It has always been thus, but if people who are powerful set the rules, where does that leave countries and people who are powerless?
Quite a significant challenge that many of the multinationals face is that operating across different governments, across different countries, different tax jurisdictions, there are different concepts of the common good across those different frameworks.
The challenge is to have a consistent set of values that applies across the corporation, but that also reflects to some extent the expectations and the needs of the societies in which we operate. And that's that, you know, I hate the word globalization that people use. So being able to be responsive, which I think we have to do, and to be reflective of that society. And we do that because we have employees in these countries, so that helps to inform some of those choices and decisions that we have to make.
Our role as tax advisors in that is certainly not to second guess clients. We're not telling them you must do this, otherwise you're ethically or morally wrong. Nevertheless, we as tax advisors are also human beings with our own moral compass, and it's absolutely right that we can say to clients, well, do you think you ought to be doing this? Have you thought about that? And raise the questions. That's why I say I think, above all, this project that we're doing will change the quality of the conversations we have with clients.